Otherwise, it's key here, NHL, you guys, but I can't. The theme. Um, Whoever was the copyright might have. Let's go ahead and watch. It's a little loud. I I can control the volume output prior to forcing you to watch the ad that I'm then forcing myself to watch, so I can get my 200 coins, I suppose. But really, I'm doing this right now, not just because it's there, and I show it occasionally. People aren't watching, because, I don't know, in my opinion, Fred Savage's voice is not the worst thing to hear in the world for free coins. And cars are cool, right? Generally, regardless of how you feel about Honda. But I don't like, though, how I have to, like, exit out of, well, I mean, it makes sense, I guess, exiting out of HUD to go back over there. And typically you can only do it twice. What this does, it's like, oh, which one do I want? Which one do I want? They're going to be the same. I kind of prefer, it's the exact same one. Okay. What I prefer, I'm just making sure that was the same one. I didn't pay that much attention to it the first time.
It gives us the courage to go faster.
Yeah, like it felt a little different for some reason. It's the same one. Trying to make so many different Transformer-esque videos, right?
Whether it looks like a truck, a sedan, or a coupe, inside is the heart.
I honestly wasn't paying them any attention the first time, really, at all, other than the changey up thing. So I think that was the same one. I'd prefer to be watching the promos for hockey. Wednesday night hockey on NBCSN. And I know I've said that every time that I've shown the Honda video. There's nothing against Honda, just playing a hockey game. I'd like to see some hockey stuff. More importantly, this is where we are. This is where I was going to start. So this is what we're doing here today. I get it, and I didn't change anything. It still says on the bottom, like new format channel, other recommendations. Well, I guess this could potentially be another recommendation, even though we haven't gone live yet, so no one has been able to give me any recommendation. Some changes you might have noticed over the course of the last few broadcasts, despite the fact that no one other than myself has been watching them, or with the fact that this is not a real channel yet and has not been publicized in any way whatsoever other than the natural way that automatically happens when you do a live broadcast to YouTube through PS4, which gets some people, like some random people, to just kind of join if it goes, long enough, which can sometimes be ones like these that are only 3.5 minutes long so far. But this one's going to be long, not like super long, but it's going to be a game, and I'm not going to be playing the game at all. So it's you're just gonna have to sit through the cutscenes and stuff like that. But it's a test. What I was saying though is you might notice the difference. It's showing overall 64 for the team, as well as some coins. So some stuff has happened, but kind of in the works, right? Normally overall you're going to see during most of my videos are going to be showing as 0. I typically run with no team. This isn't really about gameplay for me so much yet, although it will be at some point, and that point is the new format channel, the first part of those 2 potential suggestions on the bottom, which is to only play with non-tradable players that pretty much only come from the rerolls and the churn, but there are a couple of exceptions to that. And pardon me, this is a diversion from that, which is weird because we haven't even really fully launched that yet. I have been doing live broadcasts every time I can remember to do them when I do churn those reroll packs, just so that there's a kind of a live broadcast record of what came from those packs. Those videos are on average like 30 seconds, and I have no mic in. I don't talk other than literally the last one that I just did, partially just because I wanted to test, because I've been making some changes to audio and mic settings and stuff like that. And it's the only one out of the last like 5 or 6 that I had the mic in while pulling the quote unquote pulling those packs. And picked up a new Numenin. So it's an alumni. It's base carb. It's on defense with 88 overall defensive awareness. So when you're looking for players that are non-tradable, honestly, generally speaking, I'm going to be looking for 83 plus. So that would mean that 83 is kind of the low end of what I'd be looking for out of almost every position. Although currently it's been tough to get any, in my opinion, solid goalies from that. Basically, once I got rid of Kelly Hudry, just all downhill from there. And I actually do think that I still have a non-tradable base for him, and that's an 83 or 4, so he's right on the cusp. So I should maybe just run with that. Who knows? But it'll hopefully be a little while until I play one of those games, though. Like not like days, but hours, just because I'm still up. I need to get some sleep, and this is gonna run for. I don't know how long these games take because it's technically supposed to be 60 minutes of gameplay, but I don't really tend to time them, so I'm not sure if it actually takes 20 minutes. But this is what we're doing. If you can't tell me, it should be wrong one. Hey, we're just picking up this last online game so we can get the daily objectives completed. One of the things that I didn't kind of figure out until this week, or maybe I'd seen it before and then never really paid attention to it, is that if I were to let's say this was something easier, like either scoring 3 goals or completing one set, because you could complete a relatively cheap set, I would imagine, pretty cheaply and quickly. So that would probably be the one of the 5. If that was the only one left to do, this would take like 2 seconds. And then if this was done right this second, it's not as if then a 24-hour cooldown until the next daily. What it is, that cooldown is, so this kind of gives away what time this is in case it was not extremely obvious. That is your daily countdown for the reset of this game for EA, and that is 4 p.m. Pacific time. And so this is a live broadcast, so you'll see when this was posted, which is essentially right after it airs. Granted, I understand there's nobody in the room right now, and I don't know if people are going to join, and if they do, it'll probably be after I am not even on the screen anymore, and that's part of the test as well. So I'm going to see if that even works. I'm going to be doing other stuff on my TV. I won't have the PlayStation input running on my screen, and it's a relatively new model TV. I imagine there's got to be a way to do split screen and stuff like that, but I haven't looked into that. I haven't had a need for it, and I don't think that would be a good idea while trying to do a live broadcast on YouTube. So I'm going to let you guys, which is nobody currently in the room, but could be people watching later, go ahead and hopefully get this unfettered to them. Now, 9.5 minutes in, hopefully you can hear now at this point what I was saying at the very beginning, because I've noticed, maybe it's just me, I don't know, but for these live broadcasts, the first at least 30 seconds, sometimes minute or longer, really garbled, really muffled, really messed up kind of audio when I'm trying to talk. And in many cases, it can go on for even longer than that. But, good news is when I'm crazy enough to do an entire I almost got there for 12 consecutive straight hours of a live broadcast, with approximately, at best, being very much favorable for me as far as giving it a rating, possibly as much as 4 minutes of content, of like actual quality, worth watching content out of that almost 12 hours. So that can give you some kind of indication of how these things can normally run. This, however, even though it's going to be 100% passive, once I finally get to it of what we're doing, it could provide more useful content than that, because it is a test. We're going to play an online game. We're going to play an online game with what you see right there, an overall 64 team. I literally cannot choose a lower team. Now, it doesn't fall under the new format channel, unfortunately, because not all of those players are non-tradable, which just kind of makes sense. I mean, I happen to get them from, if you just even if you watch the last few live broadcasts, they pulled the 2 Gold Plus packs as part of the monthly rewards, which I promise does tie into what we're doing here. It just in the sense that it provided some cards that may have made it onto that team if they were bronze. If they were silver, they would have had to have been the lowest silver in the collection for them to probably make it onto the squad, because that's how like low overall this team is. And we're just doing this just to get the daily. And unfortunately, I mean, I've already given this away. We're talking here on Saturday. I'm checking myself just to make sure. Yep, just want to make sure. Still Saturday. And late enough in the day. Just like doing quick math in my head because I've been up for so long. I'm like, it's still morning for me, but yeah, it's late enough in the day that you're that close to 4 p.m. Pacific, I guess. Okay, yeah. Wait, what? No, 2 p.m. Pacific time was on the reset. I was like, nah, that doesn't make any sense on the math. So we need to get this done in the next 8 hours. Not just for the 200 coins, but for that October monthly collectible. Been slacking on that. Missed 2, if not 3 straight dailies, and I think I ended up missing yesterday's as well on top of that. So that's like 4 this week alone of just completing the dailies for the monthly collectible. And free packs, I've not been vulture-esque on that, of always being on top of setting alarms every 8 hours, which I absolutely could do. Like I can at least do the setting alarm part, being able or even absolutely not willing in a lot of cases to actually get up and go ahead and hit the button and get the crap that comes from that, which is occasionally some coins. When you get 1,000, it's like, that's awesome. That might have been the max that I've gotten. Maybe there's 1,500, but it's pretty much 100 or 200 on average, and a couple 50s I think thrown in there just for good measure for me. But you need that October monthly collectible if you'd like to have Nieuwendyk on your team. And it appears as though Nieuwendyk is going to be same as Ferraro as a non-tradable. So with a complete, like not even 360, like 720 flip around, turn around back to the point of the new format channel, we're going to want and need that Nieuwendyk for the squad. For our on in the game, even when I wasn't playing under those restrictions, and now that I'm on those restrictions, he's like, all right, hey, somebody's here, welcome to it. So he basically is like, tends to be my top center, top line center or second line center. Very rarely doesn't make it into it was one of the 4 lines. Hey, and they're already gone. Sweet. I'm very, very good at that. I'm very good at getting people to leave immediately. And granted, I know we're not doing anything yet here, but still. So Ferraro is a welcome addition to the team currently, and I don't see how that could change dramatically. I imagine he's still going to be a thing where like it's going to make sense for him to still be somewhere. He's got to make the top 12 forwards, and it seems likely being pretty decent at face-offs and having his natural position as a center, as opposed to all of the tremendous, at least base card centers of current players in this game who are god awful, horrific at face-offs, and their face-off rating, which seem to be correlated, if not, if it's not causation, it's at least correlation. And so for me, at least, those guys kind of got to get tossed onto a wing, go out there and play on the edges and try to avoid taking face-offs, especially late in game when it's super important. This game that you're about to see, though, is going to have none of that, or at least it shouldn't. If it does, that is problematic for whoever is fortunate enough to catch us in this right now. And if this was a real channel and I was doing this, and that could happen, yeah, I guess in the next year before this game ends, then there absolutely should be people who should be like just going into whichever one of the online game versions I indicate I'm going to choose. And I'm not being coy. I haven't fully decided yet, but I think we're probably going to go one direction versus the other. And once they see that, they absolutely should be like just already on the screens that are able to select those, and then just jumping in like immediately and hoping to get me, and then maybe even killing the game instantly if it doesn't pop up as me as their choice. Because this is a win. Somebody's going to get a win from this. We're not trying to win the game. We're not even playing. So so I don't see how we could score. And I don't know if that was a Yogi Berra saying or the Yogi Berra version of the hockey version of Yogi Berra, which I'm not sure who that would be. Possible candidates for that, I suppose. But the suggestion of you can't win if you don't score seems to be pretty true, I would say. So if I get done with the other stuff that I'm going to do after I get everything set up and I know that the game has at least begun, and I might be tempted to watch at least the beginning of it, and especially to make sure that it doesn't like boot, and it counts as a completed game, so I can just get this out of the way and make sure I get the daily collectible. Because again, really gonna need that new and Dyke for this new format channel team, and I'm not playing other. Those are the only games that I'm playing as part of the new format channel, with like exceptions like this, where I think it's acceptable doing things like in general for the overall community, to do my own little version of the test to see if if what people are saying tends to hold up. I get that we live in a society where, this is 18 pushing on 19 minutes already, which is approximately 40 times longer or more than most people are willing to listen to and pay attention to and stay focused on. I get it. But the thing is, if we do it in kind of the condensed, edited, nicely formatted version, which a lot of the videos on this channel at some point, should be, it's part of the goal. When that happens, you kind of have to like catch the highlights, and if that's done correctly, I guess it could go well. However, if you're still making choices as opposed to just showing kind of the raw footage. And when you're doing true tests, you can't do full scientific method, especially when it's just a single iteration or a single instance like this. I'd have to run this basically, if you want to call it a quote unquote simulation, like a ton of times. And honestly, by the time I did that, unless that was all I was doing and I was constantly running it, by the time I do it, they're based on the history of the EA and the devs up to this point. They'll have another tuner, and then basically everything that we just tested might have been thrown out the window. But people are saying that they agree with what the tuner notes on both. I'd say both of the last two tuners or patches or whatever, maybe even three, in terms of like the main thing being significant changes to AI, being sort of less OP, as a lot of the longtime players and prominent YouTubers like to refer to as skill zoning, etc. Which it's like, if you want to just use that as an example of like, okay, well, I'm not gonna select my defenders. I'm just gonna let the AI play as defense for me. So it's kind of like, I don't know, without trying to use cross metaphors across different sports, it would kind of be like being given the option to play hockey the way that James Harden has always played basketball. Just nothing but offense and not even bothering to cross the half court for to play any D. With the difference being that in this case, a computer that's super OP gets to play the D for you, and then as soon as they do something of value, like intercept a pass, then you suddenly have control of that player and can take it from there, and maybe even get onto a breakaway or whatever, which is probably not that far off from Harden in real life, right? I mean, you just kind of stand by that half court line, like just in case or whatever, so you're not, no half court violations for any other kind of nonsense like that or whatever, even though it's typically more going back as opposed to forwards. Can kind of cherry pick. But anyway, point being there, it's like, if you let your four teammates play D, that's like the equivalent of a hockey odd man rush, which is kind of what you do here anyways when you let your defense play for you for the most part. So it really doesn't seem to be that much different, actually, now that I think about that whole metaphor, despite the fact that I've been told, haven't seen it because I don't pay that much attention, I've been told that specifically James Harden has chosen to play a little bit more defense than he had previously in his career. But I don't think that it can be disputed that at some point in his career he basically did not play, and when was quote unquote playing was basically terrible at it. Look, to do another cross sports metaphor, a lot of times it looked like the equivalent of flopping in soccer, which is getting more and more players in that sport into trouble when it's super obvious, like it had always been for so many years. So they got to be a little bit more creative nowadays. And you can flop in basketball too, try to take a charge. But you can kind of technically do the offensive version of a flop too in basketball of feigning that you've been hit harder than you have been. LeBron basically did at least 2.5 full seasons of that every single time, and then just complained that he was like being singled out and not getting enough foul calls whenever he was taking a shot from no matter where it was. Which is how he got the nickname King Crybaby. Part of the reason. The post game comments also play into that as well. So, without further ado, 25 minutes in, we will actually get to the actual video, which I will promise I'm not intending to be talking in, because I'm not even going to be on the screen once it eventually runs. But we're going to jump into an online game. I'm going to get over to the online game version and choose which part of that it is. I am going to show you my team, because they're not going to be doing any scoring, and that's part of the new update, is that you get to see when people score who it was, like what the card was, not just the player, but specifically which card of that player was the one that just scored the goal on you, as well as up to the two other players that had the assists, if there were any assists. So that could be 0, 1, or 2 on any given goal. But at a minimum, you're going to get the goal one. Even in again, not trying to get back into soccer, but a little different there. That in soccer, you've own goal, and own goal, when the defense scores, it's kind of accounted for based off of the sometimes idiotic defender that put it into his own net. Whereas you do that in this game, it's not how it works. So someone on offense will always get in NHL 19 will always get credit for the goal, and it'll pop up the card. However, again, I'm not sure how a team that has no human controlling it is going to be capable of scoring, unless I do get back in time to jump into the end of the game, and at that point I should definitely be losing, if not like completely destroyed, like an 8-0, into whatever part of the third period. So who knows if I just kind of go to try to see if I can get like a shot off. And part of the reason why I would say that is because let's get over to this squad of this team, what we want to do. Now, I don't know, do I want to go into online seasons? This is what I was trying to decide, because I haven't played this very well, and I haven't played in a little while, since learning that I was able to get into competitive seasons despite being, as you can see, terrible for online play. Now, apparently, I'm in Division 8, and I won the Division 9 title. So I actually apologize to the individual that I was speaking with. I don't know anybody in real life that plays this game, so I would just be talking about people in the community. But I had a brief back and forth with someone earlier today, talking, I think, about playing online seasons. Even though I think they referred to it initially as something else. And I had stated that I was in fact in the second to lowest, and I couldn't even remember if that meant 2 or 9, but I was assuming that it meant 9. Whereas this, I think, means that not only have I made it into the third tier level, but they actually won the title for the second tier of Division 9. But still, basically horrible. I kind of wish that it showed kind of overall for this, because it's not been pretty. But you can see right there, 1-3-0, can't even get to overtime. But managed to win once, and that one win means all I need is 3 points to be able to stay in this division. And I got 6 more games to try to do that. Unfortunately, it's only 2 points, per win, so a single win's not going to do it. But a win in OTL take care of it. So that could happen as far as staying in. Advancing would be 6 points in 6 games, which for a normal person should not be that difficult. They're basically just average, a win and a loss in each. And then 2 more would be 8 in 6, which also shouldn't be that hard. It's basically slightly better than 50%, let's say. But I don't know. I don't know if I want to jump into this, because this is taking a loss. So then I would still need all of that. I would still need 3 points to stay, which I guess is kind of the real goal here at this point. I'm just going to get a chance to stay in this division and then try it again in the future when maybe learning how to play a little bit better. And again, 6 to advance. That becomes tougher once it's 5 games, for me at least. And obviously 8 in 5 games is that much tougher. But I don't deserve at this point to be anywhere near a Division 8 title, even if I play all 6 of these games. So we're going to see real quick what the other options are here. Did not qualify for Season 6. Not by a lot. I guess there were 2 of them. This is what happened to me. It's not like I played well. 1-2-0. But at the time that I did it, I was like, it was like maybe there had to have been less than 4 hours left to go. I barely squeaked in that last game. And again, I am terrible. I'm not even really sure how I got the win, but I think it was a decent win too. Um, this doesn't tell you here, I guess, but I think it was like I just got somebody I overmatched somebody or whatever, and it was just like I won like 4-0 or something, at least 3-0. Maybe they scored once. It could have been as bad as 3-1 or as great as 4-0, but it was a decent win for me since I'm so bad. And I have to imagine that was part of the reason why it boosted my points a little bit, I would guess, right? That would make some sense. Um, and I was in the winning, whatever. I was great. I was qualified. I was in the top 1,500. And by the time the game ended, there was, I don't know, maybe it was 4 hours. I felt like it was more like three. And I don't know. I guess I made the incorrect assumption or whatever that especially based on the hour that was happening. I don't remember exactly what it was. It could have been something like this, like super early in the morning, or very late at night, which aren't that different of times for those of us in North America, which is most of the players of this game, because that's where most of the interest in the sport of at least NHL hockey is. But long story short, yeah, it was like 14 something, and then once the last like 3 hours passed, I came back to see, and I definitely lost the last game. I don't know if the win was in the second of the three games. It was in either the first game or the second game. And the third game, I just got blown out. I even stopped playing, which I'm gonna do in this next game entirely. Whereas in that one, I was like trying to. I think I was up. I think I was just up against somebody who this was before the update. I think that's obvious based on the dates and stuff like that. So I was unable to tell, if they were playing with upgraded versions of whatever their players were, but it was just you just basically take like whoever the general public, as well as potentially some people who know a fair amount about hockey, would say would be like your all-star team for the entire league, as opposed to just like a conference or whatever. And yeah, and they even though I know there's like four sets of all-stars, I know, but point is, if you just had one all-star team, and you got to pick the best player in each position, across your whole squad of 20. Although in fairness, I don't think I got a chance to see who his backup goalie was, but definitely saw the other 19. And obviously, I have no way of knowing who his coach was, if that had any impact, which is just adding synergies. And based on the players that he had, if they were base cards, it did not seem like he was all that concerned with synergy, just from having players like Ovi on the team. Just because, again, base Ovi is giving you a synergy that some people might like, but based on the other players that were playing, again, if they were also base cards, my assumption is that synergy was not activated, the base card OV synergy. The point is, he kicked my ass. I was down like 8-0, so I just stopped playing at some point, probably early into the third period, and just waited to mercifully end so that I had a chance to see what my ranking would be, and wasn't sure if I would have even been close, and I had qualified. So after that, I was like, well, I'm not going to jump back in, get destroyed again, and have whatever positives came from the one win take me out of the running. So instead, I just kind of sat there with what I had, and it was essentially, sitting there with a bid on Price is Right, with at least one, if not two more people left to go, who just have to add $1 onto your bid to make you completely irrelevant unless you get it 100% spot on. That's basically what this felt like to me. Because somehow I ended up 112 points away, or ranks away from being able to qualify, and to be able to be able to go into this. So I don't think this shouldn't let me play, right? Not qualify, play game. Yeah, it's not letting me click. Games to play, to be ranked. I don't even. Are these the play? So confused about what this is. These are the players that are currently playing in this round. Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's the round. That's round one. That again, I can't play. How do I? This is how little I do this stuff. So I guess my choices are for current live, Gatorade and Halloween, both ending relatively soon. This one ends a little bit sooner. If I played any in around 4-4, 2 days, 17 hours, no games. Four days, 17 hours, no games. Right, so basically about the same thing, like a day difference, right? Is that a day and a half, maybe? Oh, a little more than that. Yeah, so let's go ahead and do this, right? Let's go ahead and just take the loss right up in here in this Gatorade. So everyone that's seeing this, jump into Gatorade right now. We're absolutely going to click on edit lines. We got to show you this. We got to show you this squad. Now this is basically, this is created, and you can see these players are not non-tradable, so they're not actually players that are going to stay on my team. They just happen to be there at this moment, which makes this easier for me to be able to do and to test out properly. Which wasn't the intention, but situation presented itself. I saw so many people talking about the problems prior and then suggesting that it was 100% fixed, that we're definitely going to see. If you can't beat this team without any human interaction at all, then either you have problems with your gameplay, which I do, so there's no shame in that, I suppose, or no, or it's just that the AI is not necessarily as OP, but still tuned to the point of let's say at least making things difficult, right? So filling this squad, in trying to stick with my level of what would the word be? It's not like integrity. It's like, I don't know, adding some level of some word that's kind of like integrity to this test. This is the exact opposite of what would happen if you were to click this button and then use autofill, and you get the best overall ratings. Even though when I've done that recently, I've found that despite making no changes to my collection, and therefore the players that are available to it, when I've like kind of accidentally done it twice in a row, I got a different result the second time. And then I did it a third time, and the third time was the same result as the second time in terms of who they filled in. So I need to test that more to figure out what's going on with that. And then also, in my opinion, it tends to the autofill, or even when you put the players into the offense and the defense, special teams selections, in my opinion, are, let's just say, weird at times, right? But we're not going to get into that. I'm not even going to look. I'm not even going to like click on that and see. I know it barely popped up for a second. I'm not fast enough to be able to see what that was. I'm not paying attention to what special team selections are for this team at all. I'm not sure it should even really matter because they're all horrific players. No offense to, I guess, Mr. I thought that said Oliver. And then does that mean that it's Duran as opposed to Darren Olver? Is that right? Because you're probably the highest rated player on this team and helping to bring that 64 up from what would probably be lower. Chase Lang on the right wing is also slightly helping with one of the best numbers out there, from at least in the 0 to 100 range, as far as his overall rating. Here's the thing, though. Okay, so here's the players, right? Oh, so point was, I literally went in and selected. So I went into LW4 and scrolled all the way over and picked the lowest overall rated left winger for L wing 4. I always do that, L wing 4. So left wing 4, the fourth line winger on the left side. And then for LW3, I did basically the exact same thing and then chose the second to worst. So this is literally on the left side, it's the 4 worst on the left, center is the 4 worst on the center, right wing is the 4 worst on the right wing, and it's the same shit on defense 4 worst on the left side, which apparently we didn't. We only had 1 bronze left defenseman. But we did have 3 on the right, so we're going to be a little weaker on the right side, it looks like, which is kind of the opposite of what I might typically like to do in games that I actually play, just, as a quick aside or whatever. So here's the thing, though. It shouldn't be too much of a surprise. Even having done that, and not literally, I promise you, I swear on whatever I can be allowed to swear on and not cause problems, I did not make any changes to the player selection at all. I literally did it exactly as I just said. It's the 4 worst on the 3 forward spots. It's the 3 worst on the 2 defensive spots, and then it's the 2 worst goalies. That's it. That's what the team is, right? And then I'll get to one slight adjustment that I was willing to make and why. But based off of that, I mean, you got a bunch of bronze in there, sprinkling of silver. You're going to fill out a few synergies. You're seeing some of these are on, right? But how on are they? And what would they? How much of an impact would they? Slightly missing out on passing playmaker, right? Speedster, a little bit of speedster. 8 out of 4. Now there's a couple of so there's at least a couple on the list of 6 that they show, and I don't know. Is this just me? Should they like make this so that when it's more, you can see what that more is, without having to go in and then click back and then like click on every person's thing and like see what is activated or whatever, and then like figure it out for yourself. I don't have any problem with personal responsibility and figuring things out for yourself, but like you're already on this screen, and if you don't want it to fit on there and it looks like a better presentation from your perspective to just show 6, no matter, even if it's 20, which I don't think you can do. I don't think all 20 can have the same synergy of any synergy. But no matter what that number is, and it's more than 6, I feel like you should be able to find a way to, like, I don't know, from here, like press down and then over and like see what they are if you want to, if you care that much. I don't know, but you can't. So 8 out of 4, and those are 6 of the 4, and even out of those 6, some of them are on defense. Not necessarily a bad thing. They can maybe get to some loose pucks, especially since I'm not going to be controlling them, so that would be helpful, as opposed to, like if I was controlling, it's not that I wouldn't look for any speed on defense, but I might want to have at least some, like Mr. Olver there as my frontline centerman, being able to get out on the break, right? Even though, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I might be looking more for that to come from the outside on the wings than I would from the center, but whatever. That front presence manages to squeak by. Picks up 5 out of 5, so we have 5 players picking up that synergy. Got to add some aggression, balance, hand-eye, and strength, to the players that are basically 50s in their ratings in those areas. Face-off master, also a little bit extra here, 6 out of 4. Again, also including some defenders, so, cool, I guess, that their face-offs got +3 of 50 overall. And then if their defense, possibly even less. But even so, there's got to be some actual centers in that list, I would imagine. Can't think of any off the top of my head. I know Heathcote's on the wing. I think Mizier's on the wing too. Maybe Foulfield. I don't know. Foulfield, I can look that up in a second, but I don't think I want to. He's either center or defense, and I know that's weird that it's one of those two for me, but most of these other players I've never really paid too much attention to for good reasons. It's a trap we're not going to get with just the 1 out of 10. Call the shot we do with 1 to spare, 5 out of 4. Some of those are offense, so that's helpful. Mr. L. Jerry, which looks kind of like J. Larry when you first look at it. And I'm sure I'm not saying the actual version of his name or the way that it looks to me correctly, but that's fine. These people can now shoot with a +2 to their horrific base ratings. Not going to pick up Dangler Zone. Breakout Masters, so close, not quite there, 50% of the way there. MC Hammer Time, seeing a lot of the same players that were in some of the other ones, like Call the Shot and Face Off Master. So close, one short. Makes it very tempting to want to add another Hammer Time in there, but we are staying true to this with one slight exception that we'll get to in the end. So we're 3 out of 4 there, and not going to be able to pick up +2 to body checking, slap shot power, and strength. Again, from players that are terrible overall. For the boys, not going to get that every player who has the synergy bonus. I mean, sorry, I said that the exact opposite of what that is. This is a team synergy, so this would be adding balance, endurance, face-offs, and shot blocking boosts to the entire squad, which could be helpful, but it is 30% of the way there and not going to do it as well as the Beauty is not going to do it as well as the Burner is not going to do it, but Beast is on. Beast is on 5 out of 5. However, this is this is not a team synergy. It's only those players that have that. So those 5, again, going to be adding aggression, body checking, endurance, and fighting skill. I don't see how they're going to get into. Well, I guess they could get into fights. Technically, based on the game mechanics, but that would be really tough to do. Generally, even if they find themselves in a fighting position from a person who's not actually playing, you'd still need human interaction to kind of accept the fight in a lot of cases, if not all of them. So I don't think that fighting skill is going to make much of a difference in this particular game that's upcoming, that I've taken 48 minutes to prep for some ungodly reason, completely ruining any potential benefit that can come from this, I feel like. But yeah, adding aggression, body checking, endurance, again, to players that are going to be really low in that rating. So here is the exception, and yet you can't see it, but I will show you. We're 10 out of 10 on Bruiser. Now here's the thing. You see those 6 players there that were Bruiser, and so let's just say hypothetically that there was another one, a 7th. But really what this was showing to me was we were 9 out of 10 on Bruiser, again adding +3 to the entire team, the entire squad, aggression, body checking, fighting skill, and strength. I mean, these guys, if they had any ratings in those levels and maybe had someone controlling them, might actually be able to do something like get one hit in the game. The thing is, though, I went through and showed you the whole team already, didn't I? I said I was going to. I don't know if I did. That's the offense. It's the defense. There's Fallowfield. Yeah, so he's on defense. Okay, that makes sense. There's Mr. Yari. Is that how to go with that one? I don't know. No. Here's the man, the head coach. But before that, these sweet Browns, 59 and 57 goalies. I don't know how you don't beat those guys unless goalie AI is still super OP. Pardon me. This is Mr. Brad Rome on the gold, adding Bruiser. Now the interesting thing is I pulled this lineup from a previous lineup that I'd done some testing with in the past, that I don't think it shows it here, and I don't think it's going to show it kind of anywhere, but the name of the lineup, as opposed to my team name, was called Silverware, and was basically featuring, if not all, pretty much all silver players, possibly some Browns tossed in there as well. Excuse me. And so as part of that included a silver coach. Now that happened to be I wanted to say I've got a lot of coaches. I don't know why I haven't gotten rid of these guys. And that is I should really do that at some point. There we go. Sean Kingsley. It's like I knew he had silver hair to go along with being a silver fox. and the silver card. So Sean Kingsley was the only card that was still left in this lineup because again, I'm churning these cards. They're not making it onto the team. They're not tradable. Sorry, they're tradable cards. They're not non-tradable cards, and so they don't belong on the squad. So they got to get tossed out in some other fashion, and you're not going to get a lot of value in the marketplace for them. And if you do, you're probably going to have to do a fair amount of kind of work and research yourself to find out which ones are kind of worth that effort, and then how much are you really getting out of that in terms of incremental value versus just like potentially even quick selling them or churning them into a set of higher rated cards, which eventually can get you up to some gold rares, which again are going to be the non-tradables that are going to make it onto my team. That's why I don't have a lot of those types of players, and why literally every single player that was in this lineup when I used it a fair amount of time ago was now gone and not part of my collection anymore. But again, for whatever reason, things like coaches and some other stuff I tend to just hold on to. I don't know. I don't think I can. I think if I just click this, like, he substitutes, right? So I can't like from here. Okay, there we go. So I could quick sell these all for like 200 coins, I guess. So essentially the equivalent of you saw Bruiser went down to 9 out of 10 on that, right? And now it's back on. That was the whole point. That was basically the whole point that I was trying to make out of that. And it'd be really nice if I can get to the actual gameplay before the hour starts, because that was the whole point of doing this whole thing. But yeah, Kingsley is a silver Bruiser synergy, so yeah, it's +2. Whereas Brad Rome has gold. If you are looking for Bruiser, get a Brad Rome. Feel free to only get the one and add contracts whenever needed, assuming you have a bunch of those. If you don't, maybe pick up more versions of them, and therefore me having whatever I have, like 4 or 5 of them, would actually maybe make a little sense because they've got different contract levels. But without trying to go off into that whole aside, yeah, I should probably just be quick selling those things and taking for each one basically the equivalent of watching 1 4-second video at this point, basically just for Honda. Those are all the synergies. That's just what you pick up just from basically doing a kind of like reverse autofill, the worst possible players. So they're going to get boosts at least to those stats. I mean, like, okay, so just look at 2 real quick. First of all, getting all 3 of his potential synergies. He's going beast, speed, and call the shot from the left wing. That's something that you would normally look for from a player. That would be awesome if you got that from like a legend or whatever. However, here, right? I mean, so call the shot. What are we adding with that? +2, +3. I'm forgetting off the top of my head. So his accuracy is 56 now, and his power is 75 and 76. And if I was actually playing the game, and therefore shots were actually happening, at least the power aspect wouldn't be the worst in the world, especially out of a bronze card. But overall, whatever, pretty much, right? No big deal. And then here's just one other one. Silver, you get 2 synergies, and his are both activated as well in this case. Obviously, we know they can't. I'm not going to show the rest of the cards, but we know they can't be the case for everybody because there were some synergies that had some player cards listed and were not active, and then there were some synergies like certainly heavy hitter. There's no Halloween cards in here. That'd be silly, and so like that's not even listed. And there were some other ones I think that weren't listed at all either because they didn't even have a single person with that synergy. But here, both synergies again activated, and call a shot and speedster, not necessarily things that would be the worst for your frontline centerman. You'd probably prefer face-off master as well as a high overall face-off rating. We're not really getting either one of those here with 74 and no boost. So he might end up losing a lot of face-offs in this game. You'd have to tell me because I'm not going to know because, again, I'm not watching the game. We're just going to see this is the team that we're tossing out there. this sweet, sweet 64 overall that we were tossing out there into this game. I don't remember what we're playing. We're playing a Gatorade Hut Challenge. That's right. So I'll stay here for when the game starts, just to make sure that it gets off. Because again, I've got like 6 hours, I think, to get this off and get it completed. And then as I said, I'm going to be doing other stuff, and some of that's going to include my TV screen. So I will not even really be watching. I guess I'll be able to potentially have some sense of whether the game is still going on, if it's buzzing. But I'm going to stop talking once the game starts, just in case the other player is able to hear me and know how easy of a win this is going to be. What? That's why I watched, to find out. You're gonna give me a win? That'd be I will take the win if you're gonna give it to me. Cause I was about to go up against some version of LaFontaine, and even if that was base version, that would have been no so good. What? Come on. You got to go with. Wait, what's going on there? Oh, it just flashed over with the zeros. Like, why would you trick me like that? So it does not count as a game. But hey, guess what I get to do now? I get to see who I would have been up against. So base level hull, and now it's based off of points. Is there another way to? No, right? There's nothing that, because this is based off of their actual stats in the game, and there weren't any. It must say legend. Rotai also base. Base Crosby. Base Kane. A lot of base Hedman. Base Doughty. I mean, basically the best players for the most part. Not the best, but very, very good. But base Subban. Hut cover Gretzky. Base Salming. What big fan of the base here, especially on a McKinnon who's got 4 different card versions that I can think of off the top of my head. For sure. Base, Evo, and now technically, yeah, the base and Evo at this particular exact moment would have this. Nope, that's not true. He got the upgrade because of the other cards. I don't know why I was thinking that. That's what happens when you talk this time of the night, having not gotten any sleep. So this is two points lower than Evo. I was going to say it was the exact same card, except for any potential, just strictly card boosts that would be added from Evo that I can't remember off the top of my head because that was last month. But the overall was the same, and it is not now, which makes sense because I was saying he's got 4 overall versions now. So he's got base, he's got Evo, made this week's team of the week, and did he have any milestones? So where else would he have been? Because that's it, right? It's not Halloween. What else could he possibly be that I'm thinking of that he got something else? I don't know. Well, these 3, right? Base, Evo, and Team of the Week. And the Team of the Week gave the Evo a boost. So technically, there's nothing wrong with my internet connection quality, by the way. I don't know if that shows for you guys when that pops up. It's very frustrating. Maybe that's why I got kicked from the game. Anyway, base McKinnon. Technically, quote unquote, base Yari Curry, but it's a fucking good card, man. Halloween Pareko, which trying to think of which one of the categories he was in. If he was part of the +1, the +2, or the +4. But a gold rare, so he's at least an 80. So he wasn't part of the +4. He's not a 79 overall. Because when this first popped up, I was going to say, well, whatever. I mean, it's basically just a +1 adding on to his body checking and giving him the heavy hitter synergy. But I don't know if that's true. Something's telling me he's not an 82 overall, then he's an 81. And was part of the +2 pack. But either way, there's that LaFontaine. Also base. Running a lot of base alumni here. Another one with Howard Chuck. And I'm not complaining about that. He's on my main squad as well, being untradeable. That's interesting that this part, I guess, doesn't tell you untradeable. So that might be kind of hard for me to... I guess that makes sense now that I remember a couple of games that I've played so far. It's not going to show you in gameplay, so I'll just have to continue to show by showing my actual team. Base Conacher. Base Brad Park. I mean, the Brad... Yeah, those are all... I was about to say Brad Park was not part of the upgrade process, but that is very much not true. He definitely is. They all are. Well, I mean, Ferraro's not. That's maxed as a legend card, which is also not tradable. But the rest, Salming, yep. And then obviously like the Gretzky cover card and the where's the other one? The Messier cover card. Not hating on either one of those. Happen to have both of those as well. Those can't be upgraded, but every single one of the rest of those alumni absolutely can be upgraded. And then if you're going to fill in with base regular player cards, not too bad doing that. I mean, just scrolling through this, the 85s actually are going to like kind of bring these numbers down a little bit. But there aren't really any alumni that are lower than 85. So it's a pretty high overall rated team and pretty goddamn good in a game where you actually want to play against people. Check out network performance. Fair. I wouldn't say 71 MS is fair, but apparently for those, it only shows 22 minutes back. Highest of 88s, lowest of 63. I don't know during what time that's considering it for. If it's only the last 2 minutes, I don't know. I don't tend to pay attention to that part of the numbers. I'm just pay attention to the fact that it's currently saying good there, but so from good to poor, so that's why it's fair. Okay, I just pay attention to the number, and I know 71 is not necessarily what I'm typically going for. I'm looking for, like, let's say 30. It's kind of the high end. Maybe that's part of the reason why this thing is trying to indicate that we're not going to be able to have good connectivity for various stuff, and maybe it's not going to let me get back into the game. Gonna rip it and go. Try again. Same team. We are eligible. Let's get in there. Let's waste some of their contracts before they potentially get sold to somebody for like 50 coins, which would be a bit silly for those that have quick sell of 100, I suppose. Let's see if we can get a player this time. I was trying not to laugh when I see the first couple of players that they show on their team, but it was LaFontaine, and I don't know if that was Hull. Maybe it was Gretzky, which I guess I shouldn't really necessarily laugh automatically for Gretzky because it's less likely on average that I'm going to be up against a legend. But if they've got LaFontaine, then maybe. All right, we got a good connection this time. We're playing a player we've never played before that I can remember. We're going to stop talking and let him go. That he doesn't know he's getting a free win here. If they let us get the game off.
There are nights that when you walk through the arena doors, you sense something special. This is one of those nights in Hockey Ultimate Team. The teams have just begun to play in Pittsburgh. A hit that can make you mad.
Carlson's the type of player that responds to this type of game. It's going to be aggressive from start.
They score! And so an early strike. First goal of the night.
always interesting, guys, after the first goal is scored, whether the team that scored is going to continue to attack or whether they'll sit back a little bit.
You always hope if you're paying the price of admission as a home fan that your team scores first. In this case, it has.
So far, they got their money's worth early in this game.
Propelled to Doughty. Directed on. How on earth did he ever get a piece of that one? Howitzer. He missed the net.
I know that shot had a lot of heat on it, but if you put a soccer net there, it wouldn't have hit it.
Puck's loose, denied by the roadblock. Need to get rid of it.
Great momentum on this shift. Skill, speed, and tenacity. That's why this shift is so good.
Snaps it to Doughty. Shot blocked. Setting it up. Hammers one. No luck. Threatening an attack. He had a great chance, but he has just missed the net. To Ovechkin. He regathered it. That one well off target. Muscled off. Circles with it. Chips it back. Point-to-point pass. Skates out with it. They've got it going right now. Can they finish? Got to clear it. He is slashed, and there'll be a penalty for that. Matthews gets a slashing minor here.
Oh, that's a blatant slash, Doc. Anytime that you slide your bottom hand up your stick and swing your stick, you're going to the box.
The Oil Kings are activating their power play unit for the first time.
You can turn the tide of a game on a power play whether you score or not by getting shots, by getting traffic, and by keeping the puck in the offensive zone. If you chase it up and down the ice all the time, nothing gets accomplished.
That's the end. Good work by Yari Curry. Gotten quickly back. Wants to get something regenerated, but from his own end of the ice. Couldn't get through. It's loose. Able to attack now. Out in front. Gets it with the blocker. The Oil Kings power play has ended. What a great chance to tie the game. Off the iron.
Subban's delivery was so quick, it looked like it was in the net from where I'm standing. I think this game is going to be spread out, but this puck hits the post and stays away.
Gets it back. Collected in the corner. Punched away. Possession in the zone. A shot that went way off the mark.
They did everything right there except hit the net.
Kuznetsov's getting a penalty for slashing. It's 2 minutes.
Back in the era of wood sticks, this would really hurt. That's a slash.
The Oil Kings power play gets another chance to operate. Hasn't been effective yet.
No matter how often you work on the power play, the ones that struggle go back to the same basic tenets. And it's to simplify things. Get it to the point, shoot it, get traffic, retrieve it, shoot it again.
Save and a cover. A little under 9 minutes remaining. It's a 1-0 game. Pittsburgh's got it again. Fires! Score! Low in manpower, but special.
That's a terrific play on the short-handed goal as he's able to capitalize on a mistake and beat the goaltender.
Pittsburgh's got that puck off the tie-up. Shot on. That's a good save and goal. They're going to have to come up with something better than that. He's got it.
Time of the goal, 11 minutes, 26 seconds.
Dogged determination there by Wayne Gretzky. Hit by the stick. That's just good fundamental defense. He imposed his will. Clock bleeding down on the power play. The Oil Kings power play let them down at a very important time.
Well, that was the power play that you could show to the players tomorrow and say, this is what you don't do. That power play was brutal.
They've got it. Scooped up by Hedman. Quickly off the stick. Not a good shot.
Oh, he was trying to be too cute with that shot. You cannot miss the net that badly.
Collected in the corner. Puck controlled now by the defense. They're getting ready to strike for the one-timer.
Dangerous looking shift here. They need to get the puck to the net and get some net front presence.
Presses that attack. Can he clear? They keep working hard on the boards. They've got all the gunners out. Blocker save. Great offensive job here. Means nothing if they don't score, though. Picked up by the defense. The Oil Kings in their own end of possession as they travel. Around the 20th minute of this period. Mishandled thanks to the roadblock. 54 showing. Recollected. To the last 34. 19 still to go. Down to the last 8. Puck collected. 4. 3 seconds. And the horn. And this period is over. Wow.
Feeling hungry? Try our arena restaurant for gourmet dining with great views of the action. Or get a light meal with one of our many grill locations on the concourse.
Okay.
Hedman's goal took it from a 1-goal game to a 2-goal advantage. Intermission is next. Second period about to begin here. Let's take a look back at the first. What stuck out for you?
The Oil Kings are down in this game, Doc, and rightfully so. They did not manage the puck at all. If they want to get back in that game, they got to eliminate those turnovers.
Lets it go. Deflected off the blocker. That didn't go like he wanted. Using the point. A big one-timer. Save! He just stopped one of the best. Slows it to a stop. Pittsburgh's got that win. Oh, a near miss.
That was a decent chance, but he just missed the net.
Makes that play deep. Really good cut of the pass. Sends to the point. Scorches one. Save. Keeps and covers. A little under 4 minutes have been played. 2 goals have been scored, both by one team. On to Hedman. Pad save. Ooh, tough one there. And it's held. That's a solid face-off win. Smart recovery by Carlson. Big drive. A great opportunity, but he missed the net.
He's just going to shake his head. Yeah, he rocketed that shot wide, but it missed by 15 feet.
Shutout positioning by Curry. Pass to the slot. He scores. Gretzky.
Boy, I love how he put himself in a position to really get a lot on that shot. Where was the defensive zone coverage there?
A lot of times, as soon as the guy goes to shoot the puck, the goaltender drops into the butterfly position. He thinks he's got the net covered. Turns out he doesn't.
Pittsburgh's built a 3-0 lead in this game, and they've had the puck almost the entire time. Neutralized face-off win. Pittsburgh's getting an attack ready in their own end.
Assisted by number 17, Johnny Curley. Time of the goal, 6 minutes, 6 seconds.
Subban's looking to lead. Glides back behind the net. And now it's directed to LaFleur. Good place to shoot from. Score! LaFleur!
Oh, what a quick release on that snapper.
The Butterflies of no help to him there. Thought he had the net closed off, but he doesn't. The puck's behind him.
Pittsburgh's got a large lead in this game. Let's see if they can build on it or whether they'll start to get conservative. And they've won the neutral zone faceoff.
By number 10,
Pittsburgh's carrying it in the defensive zone.
assisted by number 76, P.K. Subban. And by number 26. Time of the goal, 8 minutes, 50.
Near the end boards behind. Slid to Stamkos. Passing one off now to Ovechkin. Puck is thrown to Carlson. Takes it in from the neutral zone. Flings it. Good work there in goal. Chip to Ovechkin. Into the corner with that pass to Matthews. Elects not to shoot. Sends it across the blue line. Gets a glove on it. Has that one and holds. Over 7 minutes to be played in the second. You can see momentum in this game. It has shifted, and it is expanding even more. The advantage is 4 goals. He wore that puck on a hard shot. Free puck off a defender there. Lets it go. Oh, and he misses.
You can't miss the net with such velocity. Now you got to chase the puck down again.
Covers and stops play. Good face-off victory there. Pittsburgh's in possession as they travel in the defensive zone. Subban's trying to work his way out of his own end. Back on his stick. Not able to do that well. Laid on to Subban. Gains the zone. Shoots one. Got the... Gliding behind, looking. He takes that point pass. May not have intended it, but it hit him. Good work. Still hasn't paid off yet. In the corner. To the point to Jones. Looks to make a play. Pittsburgh's organizing things back in the defensive zone. Looking to Jones. Pitching this one to Werenski. Pitching it to Werenski. Propelled to Werenski. Snapping a pass to Werenski. Trying to go to Guy Lafleur. Tremendous hit.
I wonder if that hit will change the momentum of this game.
Hammered. He missed the net.
He might want to consider taking a bit off that shot to up his accuracy, Doc.
40 minutes have been played. Some hits given, some shots fired. But let's see what they have in mind as we get closer to the start of the third period and crunch time.
Hey fans, don't forget to get
The Oil Kings are suffering on the goaltender. For him, there are great days, there are average days, and then there's today. More in a moment. .40 minutes down, at least 20 minutes to go. What are your thoughts so far?
Pittsburgh's coaching staff, Doc, told us before the game they wanted to get off to a good start, and they have in a lot of areas, especially on the scoreboard. They are well in control of this game. Let's see how they play it the last 20.
Picks it up in his own end. Wouldn't let him by. Back to the point. Has it in his own end. That puck's loose, deflected away by Hedman. He's got that pass at the point. Cranks a blast. Pad save. And it's held. A little under 3 minutes of sweat and anger here in the third. A solid lead by a score of 4-0. Good setup off the wing. Didn't get through. Loose puck. The defense got in the way there. The Oil Kings starting back in their own end. And that play was offside. And they take that neutral zone face-off. Not a free puck now. Collected by P.K. Subban. Shakes right through. Hatchets one. Turned on net. Nearly grazed the iron on that.
Here's one of those times where you look at the net and there's nothing there. That's where you just got to shoot for the center of the net.
Won that battle in the dots. Here it comes. Great glove save. Hangs on for a whistle. Critical win of the draw. Takes that pass from the other point man. Pad block, nice save, tough to follow. They won that face-off, try to generate something. Pittsburgh's moving the puck in the defensive zone. Carlson's carrying it back in his own end, hoping for neutral ice. Pittsburgh's in their own end and in possession. Moving it to Giroux. Gains that offensive line. On to Hedman. Lost possession there. Skates along the line.
Pittsburgh's game has been quick. It has been dominant. And they have been the better team by a mile here this evening. They haven't had much to fight over at all.
Offside play. And they've won the faceoff. A great wrist shot. Save. Covers that for a stop. Good face-off win. Back and forth they go between the points. Puck's loose off the enemy this time. At the front of the net. One of the great things about this sport is watching two big guys collide.
Oh, he thought he was going to be able to squeeze through there, but the door got slammed. He got crushed into the boards.
Gently on back to Doughty. Not going to shoot. Shoots it. Oh, and what a spectacular save. Slows it to a stop. Let's check in at ice level with Ray.
Guys, you can sense the difference in the physical play where I'm standing. One team's aggressive, one team's not. The team that is aggressive seems to have the puck way more.
Well, you're right. This has been a hammering game by the team that's in the lead, Ray. Clean win on the draw. Gathered up by Alexander Ovechkin. Here's a one-timer and a save.
When you're screened like that, you just have to hope it hits you.
They win the draw. What next? Got it right back. Making progress in their own end. He's turned back now to the defensive zone. Werenski's got it in the defensive zone, headed to center. Pittsburgh starting back in the defensive zone. Puck loose, just a speed bump off the defense. Lets it go, grabbed. Covers and stops play. Good face-off win.
1 minute left.
We are in the last minute. He scores!
Carlson's wrist shot was heavy and quick.
Enzo, just because you're in the butterfly doesn't mean you can give in to the shooter. You still have to move. He looked like he thought he was in perfect shape to make the stop and didn't have to move. Bad guess.
Possession established. Good reach there.
Number 74, John Carlson.
And the pickup.
Assisted by number 91, Steven Stamkos.
That puck's loose, defended away by Steven Stamkos. Back on his stick. Taken behind by Stamkos. Right next to the line. Using the point, he's got it. Big drive! He scores! Second of the game. What a performance.
Well, I know that shot was really hard, Doc, but where he put it was more impressive to me.
Oh, he thought he had it. You can tell from the way he reacts. He thinks the puck's in his glove, but it's beating him cleanly.
win at center ice. Now what? Slid to Kucherov. Got it in the slot. Side to side they go, trying to generate something. Oh, that was close.
In this situation, you have to hit the net. Sometimes it's best just to fire right at the goaltender.
And finally, the horn goes.
Hockey Ultimate Team matches are all about executing on a set game plan. This team was able to master their strategy and walk away successful here tonight.
That's it for another great night at a hockey rink. For Eddie and Ray, Doc saying, good evening, everyone.
Hey, not my cunt. How you doing? I wasn't here, man. Never saw when you joined. Wow, 6-0. I just got back. I watched the. I think I got all the way through the first period. You give me some coins for this, right? 600 completion points at least. And then I was just laughing. That right there is why I did it, to complete an online game. That's it, and to do a test for those people that are saying that the AI is still super overpowered. Now I only got to see the first couple goals scored, so I saw that card and that card, and I think I saw that as an assist. Or maybe I saw that as a goal or assist. I don't remember. And then I knew LaFleur from the hair. And he's got no other versions. So I'm just checking real quick to see who I was up against here. Seems to be mostly like a couple of special current players, and then a bunch of base alumni, and a bunch of base, including Kuznetsov, which is a lot of upgrades there to be had. A lot of base player cards. But overall, I mean, and then an upgrade to Werenski, which would have been the lowest rated player on the team. So that is a pretty stacked team. However, what did he win? He only won 6. Yeah, he got 2 goals per per period. Not exactly awesome. How many? Why am I on the wrong thing? So 29 shots. So I mean, as the game went on, he figured out how to get at least a few more shots on goal, I guess, and then was just taking more face-offs. How the hell did I win 1? Dude, I wasn't even playing. How'd you lose a face-off to me? I guess if you were watching, did you see that? Did you see that happen in the third period? Did he just not try because he figured out at some point that I wasn't playing? I would wonder if I would wonder if my team got any other stats at all. Just the plus minus. Obviously not going to be points, but and they can't have shots. Sort of, just make sure. No, they can't have shots. Face-off attempts, and face-off wins. So Olvera won that one. That's the one. And then a save percentage of basically 0.8. Oh, he left. Now my cunt left. So the one guy who's willing to follow me on stuff. I didn't even see when you left, man. I was busy paying attention to the screen. So let's go ahead and end this. Just doing it for the online game point, as well as so we can pick up the collectible. And then for the general community, I mean, this is 90 minutes though. So, but I think the game didn't start until close to an hour in. So it's not the worst of being being about half an hour or so of gameplay. However, let's get the 200 coins and then October collectible. That's all we need. And then, as I said at the beginning of the video, as you see there, the cooldown / countdown is still the same. So if you're not hip to this, Um, the timer's the same always. It's just going to be based off of the game's daily reset of 2 p.m. Pacific time every single day. That's what it's been since the start of the game, as far as I know. And then I kind of figured that out at some point. And that includes, other stuff too, as far as their releases. As far as the releases, like new cards, like every day is a potential new primetime release, as well as the loss of that primetime card being available in packs. And so if you're looking for the ability to get that card, other than you pulling it from the pack, you'd have to be able to buy it on the auction market from somebody who did pull it from a pack. And now I have absolutely pulled primetime cards from rerolls. Right? I mean, I've got the Letang and the Kuznetsov. They are both non-tradable, which is, again, going back to 90 minutes ago when we started this, that is the new format for the cheap cards only, with this being an exception to that, and probably not having a ton of exceptions that we're going to do, especially not in HUT. And then those non-HUT exceptions will probably not really be on this channel, because maybe be on the overall channel, but not on the sub channel. Anyway, point being, they're both non-tradable, which means it's that much more likely that they came from the rerolls. And I have, I know I captured them in some way. I'm just trying to remember if I definitely was like broadcasting live when they did it, or attempting to record gameplay, which I have more issues with currently. I got to figure out how the hell to do that, which is part of the reason why I tend to live broadcast like almost everything, including all I've live broadcast the last, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 of the rerolls, just so that I know that I have the content in video format, because I can't seem to figure it out. I never have enough time to go back and look to see what's even being saved on my console or in the cloud or wherever it goes, or both. I don't even really know, honestly. I just know that I hit the button and it gives me the pop-up, and then there's never like another indicator or pop-up after that. So to me, it seems like it's doing the exact same thing as if you take a screenshot. Could we do that? Could we take a screenshot during the? There we go. So it looks like we're gonna get a screenshot of of the live broadcast screen. Pardon me. Yeah, so like that'll pop up for that. Or if I were to just I can't do gameplay recording, not because I'm doing a live broadcast, but because I'm doing a live broadcast on the highest level of video quality format that it allows you to select, and doing that one at least, and maybe the one below that, but at least that one for sure disables the ability to do gameplay recording while this is being broadcast. So I can't do that or show that during this broadcast. But what I'm saying is, like, when I do that, it's not a one-hit button for me for whatever reason with my setup. I have to like kind of, I guess, like hold it and then either go down and select it by like pressing down and clicking X, or like using square. And that allows, I know for sure that allows it to do the thing where it says save game, play, whatever, however it phrases it, but then it just pops up on the left side, just kind of like the screenshot does, but with a different icon, and then like nothing ever after that, or even like an indication when you're shutting off the game of like, oh, okay, we're no longer recording gameplay. And the other notifications or indicators, like when I shut this broadcast off, it'll indicate gameplay recording has resumed. And it doesn't mean that I'm now recording gameplay at that time and I've had like gameplay recording going on constantly, like since I bought the game or whatever. But it means that like the ability to record gameplay has resumed. That's all that notification is. So I just feel like if you've hit the button and you think that you're recording gameplay, first of all, I feel like there should be a lot more info available for that, like readily available. It's probably not that hard to look through. I can go into my library of content for sure and see what is and is not there, and then that'll maybe give me some clues as to what was and was not captured, how long it was captured for, etc. But like if this was not a broadcast, if this was gameplay recording, which would be nice if they did it kind of like that, where it's giving you another lapse time. Although I would also kind of prefer if it didn't shorten my screen to what feels like about 75% of its normal screen size for the actual portion of the game. It might even be less than that of what the actual game is, with kind of the other stuff on the outside and stuff like that. Which I guess would probably be even worse if I was doing what the typical YouTubers do with the camera as well. And I'll probably get to that point at some point when this becomes a real channel. Point being, it's kind of a small screen for me to play on, which I guess is possibly why some people who are using cameras seem to be like as if they're playing on some sort of a screen that is like literally right in front of them, and they're probably basically like going blind doing that. I'm blind enough as it is, and I'm also sitting close enough as it is, but I would probably also need to be a little bit closer if the camera that I don't even have currently was like the equivalent of like a webcam, like on top of my TV screen or something like that. I wouldn't even know. All I do know is that if it was that and I was where I'm at right now, it wouldn't be a very good capture of the portion that's me. And then that would go on some part of this screen, I'm guessing, because I haven't done that because I don't even have the camera. I don't know yet. Find that out later, I guess, at some point. Point being, this here at least gives you kind of the elapsed time, and it's very clear, I feel like, when it's starting, when it is ended, etc. Whereas the other part with the gameplay recording that's not live, again, it like gives you the little pop-up icon on the left, top left, the same way that basically the exact same way as the screenshot does that I just showed, but it's a different icon. And also for me, typically it's not just a single button to get there, so I kind of don't do it on accident very often that I can think of. I kind of have to go out of my way to be like, all right, I'm going to at least click a couple buttons here and try to do this thing, and then I get the pop-up the icon, and then it's like, all right, and that's it. My end, there seems to be never any sort of indicator, even just like when it ends. Okay, and so again, if this was a gameplay recording, which wouldn't show any of this information and wouldn't be making it clear like, hey, on air, hey, elapsed time. And I know from watching the live broadcast back on YouTube that you see all of what I see right here. Like my whole TV screen right here that I'm seeing is exactly what you're going to be able to see on YouTube, regardless of how, when, and where you see YouTube. And so whatever device you're watching it on, which you can stream to your TV, regardless of the size of the TV that it is. And so when you're watching this, it can take up your entire TV screen the same way it is taking up my entire TV screen, and I'm not seeing anything else like on the periphery that wouldn't be encapsulated and shown in the version that you can see on any of these that I actually leave up. And this one I intend to leave up, but only if I can shut the fuck up in the next 16 minutes and make this less than 2 hours, because that's insane. So I didn't see what happened in the second and third period, but I know he scored 2 more goals in each of the periods for a total of 6. And I kind of saw how I saw how the 2 were scored in the first period. So if it was just a continuation of that, it's no big deal. It kind of makes sense. But I don't know, man. I don't know. So I'll have to watch the whole thing myself before I would be able to weigh in at all. I don't have enough experience with this, and as I said in the beginning of it, I don't think a single instance test is significant enough to really show anything. You know, I watched 33% of it, I guess, so far, and I didn't get the sense that he was like an incredibly skilled player. But his team was basically stacked, not crazy stacked, not legend level alumni as opposed to base level alumni, not all max upgraded current players as opposed to base level players. So, I mean, right off the bat there, you're talking about current players being whatever, +2 to, I guess, +4 or so on their overalls. That could be higher. And then the legends, it was like less than 10 on average, but, more than 4, more than 5. So, if you took that exact same team that we just faced, which I'm trying to think of off the top of my head of all the players that he had, I'm pretty sure almost every single one of the alumni was part of the alumni legend upgrade process. And so if he hasn't done it yet, I guess he would have the ability to upgrade those two legends. And so if he were to do that, at a minimum, that would make the team like almost twice as good. Like the exact same team, exact same players, just legend versions as opposed to base level alumni. Number one. And then number two, the base player cards, even currently, as we stand now, having not finished October yet, so having not finished the second quote unquote month, even though it's only been 6 weeks as opposed to a full 8 or so. Maybe it's technically like 7 weeks in a 2-month time frame that's closer to 9 weeks as opposed to 8. But point is, we haven't even finished October yet, and it seems like it's not just the prime times that come out like one every single day. You could also have like a milestone every single day coming out. Despite some players who I may have mentioned before that have already gotten their milestones that are important, that people are probably going to be wanting to look for a milestone card to come from, and it hasn't happened yet. But you know what? I sold that player already. It's part of the reason why, or it's actually almost all of the reason why you see the coin level there. So I guess in that whole thing now, because I've technically divested, which is de-investing of that card, of that player. But I guess I'm still kind of rooting for it to happen, especially because I wanted it to happen so much when it was germane to me, and now that it's technically not at the moment, I think part of me would still kind of like to see it happen. And if I get a non-tradable version of that exact same card, they're immediately going on the squad. So in that sense, I'd have more of an interest, I guess, but maybe not. It depends. I'm not trying to give away too much, and it seems like some people have different opinions on how things do and don't work or whatever. But at a minimum, before the year ends, there could certainly be an impact there that would not necessarily be based off of getting a milestone card. So at least for that, having a card such as that's non-tradable, that has the potential to at least stay in the collection because the player gets into enough games, possibly not into every game, that would make it cool if that event happened. But now I'm gonna cut myself off for the last 10 minutes so I don't get too lost in the weeds here. I'm gonna go back and watch the whole game myself, so I don't have a hot take on this because I'm not capable of hot takes in general in a lot of topics and areas, and I'm definitely not as far as this game and this franchise goes anymore. I haven't been part of the newer generation of this franchise, so new to the whole thing. I just new to a lot of this, so I don't think I'd really deserve. That's not the way to say that. I was gonna say I don't deserve to have as much of an opinion on it as others, but I definitely do think that maybe my opinion, again, maybe I shouldn't say should be valued that much less than somebody else's, but or given less weight to, or however you want to phrase that, but like, other people are certainly would seem to be more qualified to be able to make that decision, and therefore would be excellent if they could weigh in, if we could somehow get this to them, or for them to basically do the exact same thing. I don't, even if they are doing so, having found out that I did it, maybe even saw a brief snippet of this or whatever, and realized that it wasn't high quality in terms of presentation, etc., which was literally just a baseline test that I wasn't even here for at least a half an hour of the 2 hours. But yeah, the first period that I did watch, that was kind of the sense that I got, is that he was definitely having issues. We got into 2, if not 3 power plays, 2 for sure. Laughed at both of them. Was trying not to, because I kind of wanted to take the mic out just in case he didn't have, in case he had his whole setup and didn't have me muted, and therefore wasn't hearing me tell the non-existent audience of this broadcast, what was going on, and that he was getting a free win in a spot where it could be helpful to him to get that win. But I mean, he had to have known, if he didn't figure it out even after the first period, at some point he had to have figured it out that he was playing against somebody who was not present, or at least wasn't touching buttons, whether they were finding it an inability to do so, or it was, in my case, was an active choice to be passive and not touch anything at all during the game. He was just finding it very hard to get to do some stuff. Took a couple penalties. I think they were both slashing, while probably trying to body check, and it was funny to me seeing that in the first period. And then obviously the almost the entire thing was spent in his offensive third, which makes sense. Not all of it though, oddly enough. And then it was like you could tell that there were certain things that were being attempted to be done, and it wasn't success. But again, a single instance, and for me, honestly, I only have the first period to go off of at this moment, and I will watch the whole thing and then form a slightly fuller, I guess you'd say, opinion. It would be hard to tell if it was more to do with his level of ability, baseline ability, even factoring in the fact that his players were pretty solid, and way higher rated than the players that he was up against, or if there were connectivity issues or other lag or other stuff like that. That's again not really his fault, but also not really the thing that people were bitching about, and have now apparently made a complete turnaround and said, oh, nope, everything is completely fixed. There are no problems. There's no glitches. There's no cheeses. There's no nothing going on with AI anymore. It's completely perfectly fixed. And it's like, well, okay, but probably not perfectly, right? I mean, they're still going to probably look into some updates. They're not just going to say like, all right, we're done. AI is solved for this year. Even though that's literally what some of the titles of some of the YouTube videos were. It was like, AI has been solved. One of them even said NHL 19 HUT has been solved. It's like, okay, I think that's, I see where you're going. I'm not upset with the direction or the thing that you chose to focus on for the video, or even how you focused on it. But I think that statement, just even in the title, even though I think in that case it was said at least once, if not twice, at the beginning of the video and the explanation, I think that's a bit of an overreach. I don't think we're solved. And I need to end this. I'm not going to allow this to get up to 2 minutes or 2 hours. I mean, just on the timer. I understand where it's, for all intents and purposes, it is 2 hours already. So based off that first period, things were not happening that were being attempted to be done. And again, not by me at all, because I didn't touch a single button during the game play to even get out of cutscenes or whatever. And so things were being attempted to be done by him with, players that have ability to get things done against other players who have much lower overalls. And as I showed at the very beginning, yes, there were a lot of synergies activated, but those are generally not really going to make up for the fact that the player card and the overall is low to start with, and the things that are getting boosted are lower to start with, and then adding to that I'm not playing at all, which in some cases, because I'm so bad, would be a detriment when I would play. But in other cases, not so good, in the sense that I probably would have been able to come up with at least one shot on goal throughout the 3 periods, whereas that did not happen without me playing, because you need a human to press the O button for a shot to have occurred. Still a little bit confused how face-off was won. Looking forward to watching that on the rebroadcast, because that's the only stat that we got into the stat line. So yeah, I'm guessing that's gonna be my fully formed opinion, is that it's improved from when I've tested this before the tuner. Again, just once for sure, maybe twice at most, probably. 420, cool. And then it's improved for sure. I'm not trying to discount that notion, but I don't think it's solved. There's still more room for improvement. I'm not looking for the AI, whether it's in online play against another player like this, and so technically considered the AI component of a human team, or whether it's like true AI playing against CPU in what would have historically been offline modes. I'm not looking for it to be like rookie level, and I'm not looking for me to be able to have a 64 overall team and destroy a team stacked with 85 plus. It's not what I'm looking for. It's fun to do that, and I will do that in certain areas, but overall, it's not what I'm looking for. However, the notion where it was like you could just skill zone, you could just basically not touch anything, let the team play defense for you, and they won't be able to get it in. They won't be able to score. They won't be able to whatever. Cutting it off right now. We don't have any more time. But the notion that that's not like available or able to happen anymore doesn't appear to be the case. You make your own judgments. Feel free to leave comments. Hit me up. Let me know if you have any views having watched this game of passive game play.